Hi guys, how's it going? I am the ConflictNerd. Hello and welcome to The Sims 4. Today, we're building something. This is a Sims 4 building video, and this is a little bit different. I haven't done a building video since The Sims 3, and I mean, a couple of years ago on the channel. They're still there, I think, and they're alright. I'm not really a great builder, and that was kind of something I was aware of going into this build. My mindset was that if I'm not happy with it, it won't be uploaded, so I'm commentating it. I must be happy with it. It's alright. We're building a library. We're building a very modern library. And by modern, I mean it sort of follows all of the tropes of what you think of when you think modern. So it's all white. It's all really clean. It's got a big accent color. There's lots of glass and stuff like that. But it all serves a purpose. I mean, the building is fairly simple in shape, but I think the interior makes up for that. I think the fact that it is very open and very bright and just lets lots of light in through all of the glass, I think that just makes it work. That's what I was going for. I wanted something that was almost stereotypically modern because, I mean, you go into a building like this and you're thinking it's going to be all computers and it's going to be all people sipping their Starbucks and on their iPhones and tablets and all that stuff. But it's not. This looks like it could be an Apple store, but it's a library. That was kind of the point of it, and the name of the building is actually Light Reading. And that's simply because of how much light the building lets in, how much glass there is. I decided that Light Reading was a fun little pun on things there. Now that room at the back there with the sort of arch in the wall, I want to just point out that I messed up with that. I don't do anything with it. That was originally going to be where you go to get out to the back patio area. I end up moving the door. In fact, we're doing it here to make the windows work, and I forgot to put anything in that room. I think I might put some art in there, but I basically forgot that the door had been moved. So that room is effectively useless, but you know, something can go in there at some point. Maybe not. We'll see what we do. Anyway, just continuing with the building here, the top floor in this place is actually higher than the bottom floor. And I really like that. I really like that it's taller, it's got more glass to it, it's just... I imagine you walk in here and you look at it and go, oh, this place is going to have so much echo and reverb all over the place, but everyone's being so quiet that all you can hear is the turning of pages and the typing on the couple of computers that we'll have in here, and that makes me happy. It's the kind of library that I would love to go to. It looks extremely modern, but it's actually quite, you know, it's got loads of bookshelves and stuff like that about the place. This upper floor here is actually sort of more of a communal area than the ground one, mainly because I wanted something like this. I really wanted something where you could be up here looking down and you could come in the building from that, technically the back door there, and just look up through the building. I just wanted such an open area so we can have these massive windows on that side that just go the whole way up the building. I should point out, this side is getting so much love because in my mind it was the front of the building, even though it technically isn't. The side with the road is the front. I don't know why my mind was saying, well, this is the front of the building. But whatever the case, I think it works. I think it's nice. I think it has a nicer view. It looks really cool on the sort of walkway thing there, and you can still get in. In the end, we do add a door and some steps to this this technical front section here, but for the meantime, I think it just works. Now what we're doing here is just filling in all the windows for that, technically the front balcony. I'm going to call it technically the front. This is my front, the other side is technically the front. We're just adding in the windows there and adding in some dark flooring here. I decided that the balconies only did that dark flooring, and what we're doing here is just adding some green sort of edging, changing it to orange, but in my mind, I just needed a solid color. There needed to be a nice solid color throughout this entire build, and I was going to go with the green there, but I figured the orange would sort of tie it to me. It would sort of make it more personal since I'm a big fan of the color orange. The channel is all orange and stuff like that, so I thought it just worked. Now what we're doing here is actually making room for the bathrooms. I completely forgot about the need for bathrooms. It completely slipped my mind, and then I realized we do have this perfect space here, and it will work and it will do the job, so we will be coming back to that. This is all just the planning stage at the moment. We will be coming back to that and sorting out the bathrooms. Now, picking a color for the interior was interesting. I was very tempted to go with white, but I sort of go with a subtle off-white in the end. It's very slightly orange, again tying it into the overall theme with a big bright color. Now the interior floors were just going to be white. There was absolutely no question about that. It had to be white, outer floors are black. That's just the way it works. Now these walls here, I'm not really sure about them, but I felt they were sort of necessary just to break the place up a little bit. I did originally want to put bookcases along them, but it didn't quite work. So I decided to use them for sort of backing walls, just to sort of create these sort of, they feel like enclosed areas. Like this sofa and the coffee table and all that, it feels like an enclosed area, but in reality it's incredibly open, and that's a theme that goes throughout this entire build. The whole thing is incredibly open. Just toying around with some ideas here. I did want to make it feel more enclosed, but you know, doing stuff like that with the floor just didn't work and generally just didn't look right. So we left it as it was and came over here to start adding in some computers, and I was happy with this little area here in the 3 tables until I realized that that chair on the end, the desk on the end, sort of went out a little bit too far into the area that you would be walking into as you came into this building, so I didn't quite like that. Of course, you saw me adding around some lights there. Those change. I used those just as placeholders. I wasn't really happy with them. And here we go. Adding in some bookshelves at last. It only took us nearly 7 minutes to get the bookshelves into the library, but adding them about the place. They are generally symmetrical all across the place, just because I felt that it sort of works. They are sort of hidden. I will give it that. They are sort of hidden away, but I like that they're sort of over there, so you can go around there and pick your book in peace and just be happy with it. Get your book, come around, sit down, read your book. It's as simple as that. Adding in some chairs there, standalone chairs. That little area will change. In fact, this entire area changes, and where I'm putting these computers, it's also going to change. It's not going to stay like that. Now here's something I'm quite happy with. That black strip up the middle, I love it. I absolutely love it. But this, you're going to question me on it. Why is there a bar in the library? It's kind of simple. I wanted something that looked like a main desk, and that's the closest to it that we're going to get. So it just so happens that this library also has a bar. You'll just have to live with that. It's the way it's going to be. It fills in the space nicely. It's exactly what I wanted to be. I put some clutter up there to make it look like it belonged in a library, but at its core, it is a bar. It is a bar. You can get drinks there if you so desire. I do end up putting some dining tables about the place, just little square dining tables with more orange chairs on it, so you can get a drink there and go and enjoy it. Now, I felt like this corner needed something like a chess table just to, again, give something a little bit different to the library, just so you don't just come here to go on the computer or read. You can come here and play some chess. Of course, adding in a plant there just to bring some green to the place and, again, fill in the space. That was kind of a challenge with this build, honestly. It was all about filling in the space, and I found it kind of difficult to do, because the point was that it would be really open, but yeah, a lot of space had to be filled in without looking stupid. It couldn't look like something was just put in the middle of the floor to fill the space. It had to look like everything was there for a reason, so adding some books on the floor, for example, sort of worked. Now, I did toy around with adding bookcases to those little bits there, either side of the door. I didn't like it, didn't think it looked that great, so we just sort of scrapped it. I did toy around with the idea of a rug here, and we do go with a rug, but a little bit later on we will be removing it, because again, it doesn't. You'll see why we remove it later. It's not just that it didn't work, it's that we needed to put something else here that we've really forgotten about. You might have realized what we've really forgotten about by this point, but I sure as hell hadn't, which was amazing considering the time I put into actually building the exterior of the building, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Anyway, just adding more plants about there, and it was time to start working on this side opposite here where the computers used to be. I decided just more chairs was all we needed. I wanted plenty of standalone chairs so you could sit on your own and read. Of course, adding more clutter to the tables, that's what this is sort of... This library is filled with clutter. It really is, but it makes it look used. It makes it look like people actually come here and read, so that is kind of cool. And this little desk lamp here, this little kind of modern desk lamp, I love. I actually fell in love with it here. It just works so well. It's so small and subtle, but gives off just enough light to make it worth using. Adding again more plants to the main desk here just to make it work, and I I don't know. I think the main desk looked pretty friggin' good. Now, I just went about there and changed up all of the lights that were on the walls. I'm using these smaller ones, and I think they actually look pretty good as well, to be honest. I much prefer these over the ones that we had. Now, I was toying around with the idea of going with black on that central wall, just again to, well, actually sort of match the bit of flooring there, but I went with the orange just to match the overall theme, and we do end up changing that a little bit in the future, again, to a more solid orange without the brick, the big block texture on it, and it actually looks a fair bit better than it does right now. Just toying around with the painting here. This was a nightmare to get central. I wanted to give it a custom position of the wall, holding Alt and all that to move it about, but it was having none of it. These standing lights here, these floor lights, oh, I love them. They're so good. They look so cool. I love that they're basically just big desk lamps. They look so friggin' cool. I absolutely adore them. They really just complete the look in this library in so many places and just work wonders. I really wanted to get one behind that sofa, but I couldn't. But I could get one between those two chairs, and I was really happy about that. So that was a thing. I don't know. That was mission accomplished for me. Getting that in there between those two chairs just looked perfect. It looked just right. Using the same coffee table that we've been using the whole way through this build, it just works. It completes the look. It has a nice feel to it, and just putting it in front of a sofa or in front of those two chairs, it just makes it feel like people have been there and are using the thing. And I don't know, I really like it. Now, this is the room that has no purpose. I completely forgot that I removed the door. So this room is literally just two paintings and an accent wall. I was going to go with the musical ones there, but I felt they didn't really make sense. But I did realize that I could just sort of make it look a little bit better, I suppose, with a table of sorts, a plant, all that stuff, and as I said, a nice accent wall. I love that accent wall. I love accent walls in general. I think they look amazing. I don't care if people are kind of over accent walls. I love them to bits. Now, you saw me there just go and change that central wall to the orange as well. That's what I was talking about. And this is where dining tables are coming into play. These dining tables just work quite nicely. I think they look good. They have the orange chairs again, and, you know, I quite enjoy them. Now, this is... Let's come back to something I said earlier about removing that rug and completely changing the area with the computers. I completely forgot about stairs. Completely. It didn't cross my mind until I realized, wait a minute, I've got the entire upstairs to do. So, that's why the computers had to be completely changed. Going around here, adding in all of the lights again. I do add them to the bottom of the walls as well, just to give some nice uplight. And I'm really happy with what I do with the computers in the end. I end up putting two on either side, and it just works. I was originally going to have them here in a sort of, you know, back to back. You've got the bathroom corridor in between them, but it just worked like this so much better. They're not against the wall, but, you know, they're close enough to be against the wall. They're sort of opposite each other. You've got everything in between them. You can just sit off to the side of the room and do whatever you want on the computer. Now, I was trying to figure out something I could do on that big white wall there, and I couldn't come up with something. So what I'm going to do in a moment is turn it into another accent wall. And I know it's on the outside, but it actually works really well, to be honest. A nice big orange accent wall here with a nice white sofa. That's what we go for in the end. Mainly because I couldn't find a painting that I hadn't used before, or just that worked. I couldn't find one that worked, and it bloody annoyed me. So I go ahead, I sorted out that bit of roof as you saw, and I'm sorting out all the pillars around the place as well, just to make sure it all looks good and it all works, but we will be going back to that in a moment. There we go, grabbing the orange and turning it into an accent wall with a nice white sofa. The only white sofa in the entire library, and I think that actually looks pretty good. A nice big accent wall. That's technically the front of the building, so you'll be seeing a nice big orange wall from the front of the building. Adding in some bookshelves to that wall just because I could, and we're going to be adding more bookcases to the middle of the floor here, and putting a sofa on either side. We actually get rid of two of those and make it a bit smaller, just to save space, but I think it looks good. We put a nice rug underneath it as well, just again, to make it look good, add a little bit of differentiation to the floor there, and we're moving into the bathrooms. The bathrooms are really nothing fancy. It's a nice bright corridor. There is that gap in the middle that we put some art into. It's just a nice bright corridor with a weirdly shaped bathroom. There is a toilet, there's a counter, a sink, and a mirror as well in there. In fact, I think I used the angled counters, the sort of triangular ones in the advanced counter options. I really love these. I really love the advanced counter things. People go on about all the stuff that they removed from The Sims 3, and I know I've went on about it in the past, but they added so much cool stuff. They really did. The adjustable wall heights, the angled counters, there's so much cool stuff has been added to The Sims 4 that I absolutely love. These angled counters just completed the look in here. They filled in the space that needed to be filled in. They let me add a little bit of detail to the rooms. I love them. I love the bathrooms. I love that they look just right. They do what they need to do. They're a toilet, they've got a sink, there's a bit of art there, and a couple of plants here, and a bit of art here as well. It just works. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Such simple rooms. I just bit my tongue. That really friggin' hurt. Such simple rooms, but they just, that really friggin' hurt. At least I'm not bleeding. But yeah, such simple rooms just worked. Another couple of sofas and dining tables outside here on the what I call the front balcony, what is technically the back balcony. Another couple of lights on the floor as well, and putting lights all around the top of the building as well, just to light it up. I love it. I really love it. We're coming towards being complete here. We do add in more glass here. We do add in another accent wall there. We are going to add in another big window. And then a couple of small windows around the top of the bathrooms here. Those ones on the technical front of the building, I do get rid of and just leave it with a an accent wall. I love that. I love how that bit of the building looks. I think it looks absolutely perfect. I was toying around with the idea of having a sign there. I really wanted one, but couldn't find one. That one would have worked on that side of the building, but it looks more like a nightclub sign, so, you know, I'd sort of strayed away from that. But this just worked. That was pretty much it done. I decided to add in some stairs to this side of the building when I realized that it is, in fact, the technical front of the building, so that is where every sim arrives and goes in through, but I don't care. It's still a pretty good looking building. Adding in another dining table and a couple of chairs just down to the front of the building. It is the front of the building, I suppose. And that is kind of it. We go about and add in a little bit of art here and there. We just touch up this and that. But really, that is kind of it. There is a bit of landscaping needing done, nothing too complicated. I realized that there was there were some problems with the build when I exited build mode, because it turned out that I hadn't actually put in all the stuff that was needed, so I had to go back in, as you're seeing here, and I decided to add in the 2 bins that were missing. We only needed 1 trash disposal thing, but I added 2 bins anyway, because I wanted it to look quite nice outside. I did put them outside, just purely because I didn't really have anywhere I wanted to put them inside, so they worked outside, and I figured some trees. We needed some trees, something nice and natural on this side of the building just to look out to, and I love the cherry blossom tree. The big pink tree looks absolutely fantastic. It is another bit of color that the building didn't necessarily need. It has a bit of color about it. It has the orange about it, but I think the pink was just a lovely little accent there. That's what this building's all about. It's light reading and accents, I suppose, and orange is apparently the accent that I decided to go for. Anyway, very soon, any moment now, we're going to be jumping into some screenshots. There's only 4 of them, there's not that many. You've got an idea of what the inside of the building looks like. So here's what it looks like from the outside. A lovely view there, the lovely cherry blossom tree there sort of blocking your view, but you get the idea. You've seen me build it. You've just watched me build it. If by this point you don't know what it looks like, then you've not been paying attention. It's kind of that simple. Anyway, here's it. Without the cherry blossom tree, you can see those lovely big windows there letting in all the light. Here's it from the back angle, the couple of accent walls there looking more tan than orange, but I don't care. It's orange in my mind. It does the job. That wall is still very bare, I know that, but there's really nothing I can do about it. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching. I've been the Conflict Nerd, and I will see you next time. By the way, if you want more of this, let me know. I will make it a more regular thing. This was sort of an experiment. That's really all this was. I'm quite happy with the build. I thought it worked. So yes, if you want more of this, be sure to let me know. The comment section is down there for a reason, as is the like button. So yeah, be sure to let me know if you want more of this, and thank you very much for watching.